Welcome to the CTA Foundation's CES 2021 interview series. My name is Steve Uhl. I'm Executive Director of the CTA Foundation, and I'm really thrilled to be joined today by Lisa Marsh Ryerson, President of the AARP Foundation. Lisa, welcome.
Steve, it's always great to be with you, and thanks for including me in this exciting interview series for CES.
Oh, we're excited, and we just love all the work that we're doing with you and the AARP Foundation, and seeing all that great work. Certainly this has been an interesting year for all of us, but as we're looking at the mission of the AARP Foundation and the way that you're addressing poverty for older adults, can you share a little bit about the types of programs that you're doing to accomplish that mission?
Yes, Steve, I'm happy to talk about it. And I want to start by thanking you. You've been such a great supporter and colleague and thought partner for us as we work to lead in tackling senior poverty across this nation. And Steve, as you know, and I would want others to know, even pre-pandemic, there were 37 million adults age 50 and older who were either already living in poverty or one life event away from slipping into it. So we're working to increase income, lower expenses, and help older adults have the critical social connections they need, connections to a reliable social network and critical community support. So that's everything from access to SNAP benefits, tax benefits through our tax aid program, robust workforce programs. We're also a fierce defender. AARP Foundation litigation works in the courts at all levels to address discriminatory institutional policies and barriers. Think about fair housing access or age discrimination, for example.
Well, those are really important topics, and you've just got a ton of things going on. You mentioned social interaction and the importance there. The CTA Foundation's been thrilled to support the Connect to Effect program. How have you seen that program impact the social isolation that many of us have seen this year?
Yeah, Steve, more important than ever. And for us, tackling poverty is really integrated with our need to increase connections, reliable connections for vulnerable older adults. And isolation, as you know, is on the rise. We know through our NAS consensus study that we supported. We were really happy that that study came out right before the pandemic. And it certainly confirmed decades of research that older adults are at increased risk for isolation. And then since the pandemic, Steve, you and I know that isolation is on the rise across the life course. So more important than ever that we're working to be sure connections remain strong and that physical distancing doesn't become social disconnection.
Absolutely. And that was a really important study that you all did. I enjoyed reading it. I know it's really important for all the people working in the aging and technology space to understand some of the findings that you found there. The pandemic's really shined a light on digital equity as a critical issue facing low-income older adults, people with disabilities, other marginalized communities. AARP Foundation's been working in digital inclusion for a long time. How has this shaped kind of the longer term strategy to bridge the digital divide with the AARP Foundation?
Well, it does exist, doesn't it, as you're noting? And we certainly have known through many research studies from a variety of organizations that digital use is on the rise among those who are 50 and older. And by that, I mean, Steve, access to smartphones or other electronic or internet-enabled devices. But there's a vast divide when you look at older Americans and income levels. So we're focused on digital divide, primarily working with you and others on the total issue of digital inclusion. So I've been excited, for example, about the work we've done with CTA Foundation, many other national partners, to increase access to devices, reliable internet, and digital solutions in affordable senior living communities. I think that's just been very, very exciting work. So know that we will continue to work on digital divide issues from multiple levels, whether it's helping older adults have access to digital solutions to help them find work, to access benefits, to remain socially connected. But this is big. These are policy issues as well, because we know that well over a quarter, I think it's over 27% of elderly Americans do not have access to broadband. And, I see internet access now as it's a fundamental right. And we are living and working, and people need to secure their essential needs all through the use of reliable access to internet, reliable access to technology training, digital training, and reliable access to affordable digital tools.
Great points across the board there. And it really is such an important issue across the country, because there are many
Yes.
communities where it's hard to get that broadband access and really take advantage of some of the new innovations and programs that we're all working on.
You're right, Steve. I think about the work that you have helped us with. I am reminded of the ongoing importance of the convenings that you and your team have participated in with other national leaders and organizations across sectors and affordable housing communities. And think about the great work we did together, for example, with Mercy Housing, and the stories we have where older adults were confined to their apartments, throughout the pandemic, and when safety orders and recommendations continue. But because of donations of devices, whether they were smartphones or tablets, the ability to have training through our technical support, we have wonderful stories about connections to family members, connections to neighbors, the ability to access telemedicine appointments, to order groceries online. So we know the power of helping older adults be included digitally.
Absolutely. Well, and that leads to another opportunity that we've had to work together this year. And, I'll admit I'm a big fan of public-private partnerships. I've been
You
involved with
are.
a number over my career, and, the opportunity to engage with the Administration for Community Living. Can you share a little bit about I know we're going to make some big announcements here
You
at
are.
CES, but can you share a little bit about what we've done with this mental health innovation challenge this year?
I'm happy to share a little bit about it, Steve. But again, I want to offer many opportunities to really tell everyone what a joy it continues to be for me to be able to work with you, because your career has spanned so many sectors. And that experience and your commitment to digital inclusion, I've learned a lot from you, and we're really happy to have you as a friend and partner at AARP Foundation. But you and I, many other leaders, and really great organizations across a variety of sectors are coming together with great support from the Association of Community Living to develop a social connection clearinghouse and an effort to increase connection for vulnerable populations. And at CES, you will be part of the announcement of the Mental Health Challenge winner. And so what I can say is I'm excited for that announcement to take place. And with you, I'm very excited to work with the winner in our efforts to create this clearinghouse, which will be about access to evidence-based solutions so that vulnerable populations and individuals have the tools to build the connections they need to thrive across the life course.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really important. It's amazing to see how, in what quite frankly was a fairly short time period this year,
Yes.
we've brought together this coalition and received, dozens of entries to compete, and then down to the final two. And yeah, I think this is going to make an amazing difference in the way that
Yeah.
people are able to connect in the future.
And I think you're right, Steve. It is really, it's about shared value, right? It's great leaders and those who are innovating with technology and in the space of digital solutions, caring deeply about this, stubbornly persistent social issue of social isolation with all of its negative impact for individuals and communities. So like you, I'm really excited, and it is always a treat to work in a collaborative, collective impact model. It takes all of us to get this work done.
Absolutely. And that's where there's just so much opportunity to bring together, foundations like ours, industry, government,
Yes.
and all the different, important seats at the table. It's also important to have that diversity of discussion
Oh,
and background. So I'm
absolutely. Because when we were talking about digital inclusion, fundamentally, these are conversations about equity and, the continuing inequity in our nation regarding systemic discrimination and racism. So working together to build solutions that really produce equitable outcomes, I think is so exciting. another reason why I'm happy that our group also works looking at research such as the NAS's great study.
That's great. Now, as you're looking at, a number of the programs that AARP Foundation runs and supports, how do you see technology playing a role in the work that you're able to do?
Yeah, it's central to everything that we do, Steve. And you know that we had been working on really digital disruption of our work well before the pandemic, but it's taken a heightened priority in our work at AARP Foundation, certainly with our innovation pipeline projects, but with everything that we do, our more mature programs such as AARP Foundation TaxAid and our workforce programs. And we have found during this time that our ability to offer digital solutions and focus on digital inclusion spans everything from our workforce programs to benefit access programs, our tax aid program, to our volunteer programs, our AARP Foundation Experience Corps volunteers who are tutors to students in underserved schools are highly motivated to learn how to use Zoom that you and I are using and other platforms to continue that tutoring. So know that we know that harnessing the power of technology is central to our ability to scale. And scale is critical for our ability to really meet and greet the growing needs of a low-income population of Americans who are 50 and older.
Well, and it's a growing population, and it's still such a small portion of the overall philanthropic focus that,
Oh,
I know that the two of us met when we
that's where
joined the
we
board
met.
of grant makers and aging together a number of years ago now.
Yes.
Looking at, there's some great foundations doing work in this space, but there is just a growing need and opportunity for focus on this across industries and across.
Yes. And I'm constantly baffled by the fact that we're not expending more of our philanthropic dollars across this nation on issues for people who are 50 and older. It's a growing population, but also at our core, we know that, learning and the ability to have purpose and contribute to communities is lifelong. And so we need to be building these solutions and pathways that help individuals really thrive across the entire life course. We also know that the great income divide and disparities exist. So all of that funding will be important. But a lot on the horizon, much of which you fuel in terms of digital tools and solutions, I think that are really exciting for the future.
Absolutely. And speaking of that horizon, more of kind of a personal question, not just with the groups that you're supporting, but are there emerging, here we are at Digital CES this year. Are there technologies that are emerging that you're excited about seeing coming out in the emerging now, but coming out in the next few years as well?
Yeah, so many, Steve, but I'm going to try to keep it to 3, if that's okay with you.
That's perfect.
You know that I am really excited about the power of voice-enabled technologies. So really looking at voice first. We've seen exciting results as we've worked with affordable living communities and the ability to use smart speakers and other voice-enabled tools. So I continue to be excited. I think they're all about accessibility as well. Also AI, whether it's the chatbot that we have available on connecttoeffect.org, or AI and helping us be able to find and connect with vulnerable older adults. I'm very excited about AI and all of the innovation that's happening in that space. And finally, I'm excited to explore how, for example, AARP's Elko and VR can be adapted and used to work with older adults and vulnerable older adults or low income older adults. Steve, I have on my mind, VR applications, not just for connection, but for things like upskilling or job training. So those are the 3 areas, Steve, that I'm watching really closely.
Oh, those are all exciting areas, and I can't wait to see new applications for those, but also just emerging opportunities for those within the spaces that we're both working in. So I'm excited about all those as well. Well, Lisa, I really appreciate you joining me for this conversation today. If people want to learn more about the work that you're doing and your amazing team's doing at AARP Foundation, where should they go?
Head to connecttoeffect.org and you'll learn all about our work across our programs on increasing social connection and our exciting work in technology and digital inclusion. Connecttoeffect.org. Steve, it's so great to talk with you, and I'm excited to be part of CES.
Well, great. We always enjoy connecting, and I look forward to lots of additional projects that we have coming down the pipeline and continuing to work with you and your team. So thank you again for joining me here today.
Thanks, Steve. More good work together ahead.
Absolutely. And for people watching this, if you'd like to learn more about the CTA Foundation, you can go to ctafoundation.tech. Thank you.